Hey everybody, KMO here with another Out of My Head video. Yesterday's video, I should put some more thought into these things. As I often do, the title that I gave it was the exact opposite of the message of the video. It was ironic, or just, I don't know, cantankerous. But I can tell that a lot of people hit that dislike. Oh, I dislike that because I like Andrew Yang and he's cool and you're making fun of him and you disagree with him, so I dislike. Oh, down. I bring it on myself. Anyway, because yesterday's video did get more than the usual attention, I will follow up with a little bit more on Andrew Yang. Sort of Andrew Yang, mostly just geoengineering and a whining dog. So, geoengineering, basically, reversing climate change via technology. But that's a very, very broad and, catch-all definition. Essentially, there's two different kinds. You've got carbon capture technology, basically drawing down carbon that's in the atmosphere. And you've also got solar radiation management, or SRM. Also known as solar geoengineering. And when it comes to solar radiation management, there is a very distinct line between two different, significantly different types of approaches. When trying to shoot a video, what you don't want is one of these. And there's an important distinction to be drawn within the category of solar radiation management. And there's different ways to break it down. One way you could say is solar radiation, you can reflect it before it hits Earth's atmosphere or after. But I think a better way to say that is you can physically reflect the light either before or after it hits the atmosphere with some sort of mechanical means or some sort of material science means, like painting roads and rooftops white. That will reflect more light. Or you can do something to change the chemical composition of the atmosphere, like seeding the upper reaches of the atmosphere with reflective particles, like sulfur dioxide particles. Both of those methods, the advantage that they have is that they are cheap. If you start reading up on geoengineering, one fact that people generally agree on, which is by consensus cause for alarm, is that it is within the reach not only of poor countries, but of wealthy individuals. If pick your billionaire of choice decides that they're just tired of the failure to coalesce around a single vision of the international community of governments, that individual might just say, screw it, I'll do it myself. Because if you're just scattering reflective particles in the atmosphere, you don't need rockets for that. You can do it with planes or maybe even balloons. And the problem, the danger, really, with this type of geoengineering is that what if you go too far? What if you reflect too much sunlight and you've done it in a way that you can't readily undo, say by changing the composition of the atmosphere? Eventually those particles will fall to Earth, but maybe not in time to undo the damage that you've done. So an alternate approach, and this is the one that people who are allergic to scientific and technical visions of managing the environment, they hate this, but you can take origami-like big solar shades or solar mirrors up into orbit, or up into, it doesn't even have to be in low Earth orbit, but position a reflective surface, a light, expandable, reflective surface between the sun and the Earth, and reflect some portion of the sunlight that otherwise would have reached the Earth. The huge advantage to this is if you've gone too far, if you've reflected too much sunlight, and believe me, global cooling kills just as readily as global warming. It causes crop failures and famines and wars and all that bad stuff. If you find that you've gone too far with your solar reflective methodology, well, you just fold up the sail again, or you turn it perpendicular to the sun. You can basically, if it's a mechanical thing that you have placed between the sun and the Earth, and it's doing too much, or it's not working the way you want it to, you just take it down. It's easily done. If you have changed the composition of the atmosphere, there is no undo button. There is no off switch. It takes a while, and possibly a long while, to undo the changes that you have made. Now, the disadvantage, you might say it's a disadvantage. I'm thinking of it as an advantage, but you could say one disadvantage of the physical barrier in space between the sun and the Earth is that, unlike putting reflective particles, just in the atmosphere here on Earth, it is very, very expensive. I mean, just boosting a kilogram of matter from Earth's surface up out of our gravity well, into a stable orbit or beyond. I don't know what the exact dollar figure is right now, but it's more than I have on hand, and it's going to take a lot more than a kilogram to do anything worthwhile. But one advantage of the solar barrier in space model is that it is very expensive, it is technologically demanding, and only a few countries right now have the means and can afford to do this sort of thing. Why is that an advantage? Well, one, it's really hard to get everybody on the whole planet to agree to anything, except maybe using, orchestral music for their national anthems or using money. But, aside from those, basically consensus is really hard to come by. But if, say, the US, possibly in conjunction with China or Russia or India or the European Space Agency, or any of the very few players who have access to space right now, if that tiny club can get her done soon, then we head off a situation in the near future where somebody with just a couple $1 billion is tempted to try to change the composition of the atmosphere, which could have catastrophic results. So I'm going to leave it there for now because I think that my window of quiet is coming to an end. But let me know what you think. If you want to hear more videos on this topic, I will need to do some research, but I'm happy to do it. So comment, and I will talk to you again tomorrow.